Thank you for coming over here for this session. Give you a very quick introduction about myself. My name is Asif Durrani. I'm the doctoral student at Hult International Business School. This is my second practicum of my doctorate journey, and as part of my research requirement, I have to share my research finding in a non-academic way to the industry professional. How it is all started, my curiosity and interest with most of the fintech and startup which are emerging across the globe. Before coming over here, I just make a very quick overview about all the major fintechs which are currently operating. Afterpay, Klarna, Grab, Monzo, the list goes on. Most of these fintechs are the one who has published their financial. Anything that you notice on this slide, what do you think these figures tell? What are these figures? Any guesswork? Revenues, valuation. Okay. So this is, and especially the unicorn, because any company which is above $1 billion valuation is considered as a unicorn company, and these are the unicorn startups. Let's go into the more detail. All the numbers that I have mentioned over here are coming from the published sources. Revolut 205 million operating losses, Monzo 116 million operating losses, N26 151 million euros, Afterpay 350 million losses, and the list goes on for all the fintech startup. Even the checkout, you can see 126 million operating losses in 2025. So this slide, when I presented this slide to my research supervisor, so in the doctoral programs, we have a research supervisor. So my research supervisor, she's an amazing lady, Patricia Hen. She's based in Ashrish campus as a dean faculty member. She coaches on the leadership, executive education. And when I highlighted this point, she supported me that this is something that we can use as a problem of the practice, because this is something that you do the research and go back to the industry. And who will be the one? Founder, venture capitalist, investor, and the people who are entering into that payment business. Before jumping on the research question, let's see what is actually a fintech. How we define a fintech. In a very simple etymology of the word, the fintech means the financial services and the technology. Financial and technology as a fintech product. And the big boss is here. Come in. Come in. Thank you for your time. So coming back, what is a fintech? Fintech in a simple word is financial and technology. We have a product on one side, we have a technology on the other side. Can we simply connect product and technology and make a fintech product? Let's go more deeper. So we are surrounded by the people with a different category, different responsibility when we launch any fintech products. And how these people work? They work in a work engagement. All these people that I have mentioned, they are engaged with the work and they are doing their own financial services product deliveries. Okay. If you go deeper, the people are categorized as the leader and the employees. Leaders are the one who are responsible for the financial performance, who are responsible for drive the company. People are the one who work together and deliver any products. So within the organization, we have a segment of the leaders who are responsible financial. We have a segment of the people who are responsible for driving the products. And on the other side, we have a customer. In all those names that I have mentioned earlier, we are evident that there is no problem at the customer side, because revenue is increasing, sales are increasing, they are getting new customers, but operating profits are not there, operating losses are there. So the research question comes back to very simple. Leaders are responsible for driving financial performance. People are in between, but how you will engage those people is through the engagement. Who will engage is a leader's responsibility to engage the workforce. If this is a matter of the financial equation, accounting formula, then why the companies are not profitable, it could be as simple as it is like 2 plus 2. But it is not an accounting problem. It's not a financial problem. And this is the model we call as a conceptual model in research, which is based on the theoretical framework, theories, literature, and research methodologies. How you define these theoretical framework is goes back to the foundation. One of the key thing in the research is whenever you do any research or contributing toward the existing field of knowledge, you have to go back and build on the foundation which is already created by the fellow scholars. And theoretical framework is based on linking your research with the main theory. So that my research is based on the two theory, which is the social exchange theory, which is based on the concept that individual work collectively to achieve their objective based on the cost and reward. That's why we have a performance appraisal system. That's why we have bonuses. That's why we have increment. That's why we have a sales target and the sales incentive as well. That is a foundation theory, and that's why you see now it is available across all organizations, because scholars at that time they realized that by force, by keeping the track of 9 to 5, putting the people on the conveyor belt, you cannot drive the productivity. So that research and theory came as a social exchange in 1964, and that's why you see it is becoming a norm. The second theory is based on the resource-based theory, which is quite old, which is introduced in 1937, which clearly says that importance of resources available to organization to stay competitive and not only rely on the product and services. What type of the resources? The intellectual capital, the people, the resources. And that's why you might notice that we start being called as a human resources. It goes back to the theory of 1937. And then I use a different testing tools, which include the correlation, factor analysis, bootstrap. We will not go through in more detail, but just give you an insight to make a one statement about how we can improve the leadership and work engagement to drive financial organization. You have to go through a proper social science research. Otherwise, it could be a mere opinion. Okay. So the research hypothesis is work engagement mediate the relationship between transformation leadership and financial performance. Transformation leaders are responsible for financial performance. My study analyzed that whether the role of work engagement mediate the financial performance. If the leaders are pushing the people at work to be more engaged at the workplace, will that drive any financial performance? And that can be proven through the research. And how we will go to research? We'll go and ask the people. How we will do it? We'll go and more we will ask the people and measure their behavior in this model. The top priority is for the ethics. Even for my research, I have gone through that very rigorous round of the ethics approval. Why it is needed? When you ask the questionnaire to someone, you cannot individually identify that person. So no person could be personally identified when they are filling up the questionnaire. And the survey instrument, survey form is known as a measurement instrument. The question that we might ask is transformation leadership. My manager communicates a clear and positive vision for the future. My manager gives encouragement to recognition to staff. My manager encourages thinking about problem in a new way. And question assumption. These are the type of the thing to assess the person on the leadership scale. And there is a complete science, as I mentioned earlier, about the transformational leadership, seminal article by Evlo and Bess, 1999. These are the findings from the research. Okay, so they say, if you want to measure anyone on the transformational leadership, ask the person and ask this. How you will measure the work engagement? I feel energetic at my work. I feel focused on my work. I feel pay a lot of attention at my work. I share the same work attitude as my colleague. This is the way in a social science you measure. Okay. For the first time when I went through all these questions, I was scratching my head. What type of the question are these? Okay. Why you will ask? Why you're asking that? How do you assess market share of your company? Okay. But these are the way that we use in the social science to measure things which cannot be measured easily, which we call latent variables. But are you guys with me till now? Because I'm just trying not to use any technical. So let's come back on the demographics. 60% people are from head of department, and majority, 2/3 of people were male. Let's go into the data analysis very quickly. You don't have to go through all the details, but I will only share the concept. Till now, we have collected the forms, survey form. The people have filled it up about the transformation leadership, work engagement, financial performance. We get all these forms and analyze through the statistics technique whether the transformational leadership questions, 7 questions that we've asked are the true representation. The work engagement question we asked are the true representation. Or the financial performance question that we have asked are the true representation of those latent variables. And there are different statistic techniques. The one I have used over here is a factor analysis. And the result shows that the way the people have responded, these 7 questions can be represented for the transformational leaderships, or the 7 questions for the work engagement and the financial performance. So that's why we call it as a factor. And within those set, 7 questions, 8 questions, 9 questions that we ask, are they related to each other? Is there any strong reliability? Or we are asking one question, like I mentioned earlier, about measuring about our leadership, that my manager gave a clear direction. And then I ask, I feel energetic at work. Can they both be clubbed together? No, because there are 2 different factors. We say, okay, these questions are different factors, and within those questions, they are related to each other and they are reliability among each other. So that research also passed that test. So we passed the factor that these representation of set of the question are for the real variable, and within those variable they are related to each other. So we passed the reliability test as well. After that, I think most of us have done in the statistics as well, correlation. What is the impact of one variable? Transformation leadership, increase in transformation leadership will increase the role of the work engagement? Yes and no. The response is yes. So most of the variables are highly correlated to each other with a higher level of significance. We put the data into the system. We run different type of the bootstrapping, regression, and more statistical framework, and we figure out that it is statistically significant that 46.9% change in work engagement can be predicted by change in transformational leadership. So that is to make that statement, to make that statement not different from the opinion, we have to go through the research. So the message is the transformational leaderships drive the work engagement. If the leaders are transformative, the work engagement will be more. The another finding which is statistically significant is it shows that 65% change in financial performance can be predicted by change in transformational leadership and work engagement. So earlier it was a direct impact. Now we are saying if we want to improve the financial performance, the leaders and the work engagement can drive even more, which is 65%. The 65% of the change can be predicted by the change in leadership and the work engagement. It is statistically proven. So if you don't do these actions, there will be a cost to be paid, and the cost will be paid by the company. Okay, so that's all from my side, but I will encourage you to ask some questions.
What is the last conclusion of this?
Good questions. Okay, so the question is, this statement that I have made over here is how it is supported by the previous research. Okay, so in the research, the difference between any research statement and the opinion is you can have any as much as those opinion as we want. Okay, and we sometimes we make the opinion every day. Okay, what makes your opinion different from the research is you built on the previous academic research. If you are going through the deductive research, not finding some new theories, you find your own theories, go back into the scholarly article, what the previous researchers have done, and then contribute a small impact on your own contributions. If this research has already been done in the past, then my paper and my research article is of no use because it has already been done. Okay, how you will find it? You go into the literature review. You go into the literature review and you will find that if this has been tested or not. Transformation leadership, work engagement has been tested. Many papers. Transformation leadership, work engagement, and financial performance in fintech tested? Not yet. Which industry we are selecting is also makes a difference, because sometimes the industry also changed the way of the style of the leadership which is required. So any research statement that you do, it and if it is a deductive research, most of the people do the deductive research is built on the theory, come on the like a seminal article, research work, and then go in a more detailed level. And when you ask all these questions, like the questionnaire I share, the type of the question that normally we do in the like a data collection, all these type of the question, they are coming from the research. So for how to measure the financial performance, there is a different article. How to measure the work engagement, there is a different set of article. And how to measure transformation leadership, then there is another set of different article. So I like your question that whatever I have mentioned, is there any work done on the previous, or this is a totally new idea? If I'm coming with a totally new idea based on my observation, we call it inductive research. Any other questions? You have one question.
Yes, I have. Based on your research and some revenue loss.
So basically the question is that this losses is only specific to the fintech industry or other industry as well. Okay. If you look into the model, if the model is tested, where I have used the model of the transformation leader, work engagement, and the financial performance, the data is collected from the financial services industry. So if this model drives the same response, the fellow researcher or in my own longitudinal study, I can go and take the data from some other industry. I will say take the data from like for example hospitality industry as well. It goes back to the what problem of practice you are going to solve. The problem of the practice is with all those so many losses, operating losses, there is something which needs to be addressed because the product and technology cannot stand alone drive the organization performance. It's the people, and the people are at the three levels: the leaders, the customers, and the employees. Customers are satisfied because all those companies, the customers are happy. They have a revenue, they have a sales. The problem needs to be investigated within the company at the people level, at the leadership level. So if this research model is proven or the hypothesis is tested, the same can be emulated in another industry. The only difference will be you will go and collect the data from the different industry segment. And that's why we call as a non-probability testing. In the non-probability testing, you will say, I will go and collect the data from this certain category. I will not send this data to the hospital staff, to the nursing staff, because the response will be different. Because in the hospital nursing staff, you don't need a transformational leaderships. It's a servant leadership style. Okay. If you are in aeronautics, for example, if you are going to survey the flight control people who give the authority for flying the plane, you don't need a transformation leadership. You need a different type of leadership, that is management by objective active, which is known as a micromanagement. So micromanagement is good, is a type of the leadership, but in which industry? If you want to be a leader, you have to see in which industry I'm working. Most of us get a micromanagement as a not as something good. But if you are on the aeronautics flight controller like a duty, who approve that every plane checklist like aeronautical engineer, you have to be micromanager. If you are a heart surgeon, you have to be a micromanager. If you are a dentist, because 1 millimeter of the difference from will make a different root canal. So you have to be a micromanager. So that's why every industry has a different type of leadership. This research will be applicable for those industry where transformation leadership is there, and mostly the servicing industry. And the research can be implied to can be emulated to another industry by only changing into the research sampling, the data that we have collected. And that's why we call non-probability testing. Non-probability testing, I will not take the question and send it to all. In this sampling technique, we collect the data and send to a certain group of the people. One final question from this side, then I will wrap it up. Good question. Okay, I think this is a question. I answered earlier different question, but this is a very good question, and this question is very close to my heart. The question is how the fintech company hire the right talent, right expertise to drive the organization performance. Most of the problem happens when we go and look for the hiring of a person based on the past experience, past achievement, and expect them to deliver the product of the future. You get me? In a fintech is a rapidly changing environment. You don't have to hire the person based on the ex that person has been successful at this place. This is not backed by the research, but in my opinion, based on my assessment, the person should be hired based on the capability and ability to learn and adapt with the change. Because whatever you have done in the past, that was relevant for that particular moment of time. And most of the leaders make that mistake when they hire the people. They ask what you have done, and then you expect a totally new product, new innovation. So you cannot build the innovation based on the legacy of the experience. The innovation can only be thrive based on your ability of learning. And this is how the role of the transformation leadership is important, because I mentioned it trigger the intellectual stimulation. What the leader do it is intellectual stimulation. Transformation leader. It doesn't ask, hey, come at 9, go at 5, and I will measure the lunch break. I will make every second count. That was good at the industrial revolution when the people were on the conveyor belts, because at that point of time your physical strength were mean of the production. That's why you have to be there 9 to 5 at the conveyor belt, and the age of retirement was 60. Now the age of retirement is not 60, but the policy has not changed. The policy has not changed. The age of retirement is not 60. Why I'm telling you? In the corporate world, the age of retirement is 60. But if you pick any global leader of a powerful company, check the age of the leader or even those people who are consenting the election. So it goes back to the intellectual stimulation. So when you hire the person, even in our role, when all of us will, once we get that chance to hire the people, don't assess the person based on the past. Check whether this person is capable to change and how you can drive the innovation, because no company will hire the people based on the legacy. Everyone want to be innovative, but the mistake they did, they go and check what has been done in the past. But good question. Exactly, it was a little bit out from the research, but this is something I've been very vocal about it, that the leader should be the readers. They should read it, because if you don't read it, you cannot improve yourself. And when you hire the talent, hire the learner, because learner can be adjusted anywhere. So the good question. The question is, the person that we work in the fintech and the employees, the one should be hired who can adapt the change. Goes back to the same. How you'll adapt the change, by force or by intellectual. In the service industry, you have to be an intellectual, so which means you have to go by and hire the learner, not the one based on the previous experience. So if the person has a one capability as a good learner, you can drive the change as well, because the change is eminent. I mean, change has to be there everywhere, it's a part of the life. And one of my very good friend mentioned that the change is in a routine, because every day is not same as the previous days. So she's my classmate and the doctoral student, Uzor. She's based in Nigeria, and when we were discussing about the change, she mentioned every day I feel a change, because my yesterday is not same as today. So when you expect for the change, the mistake that we expect that we expect a drastic change. So today is different from yesterday, and tomorrow will be a different day.
Every day is a different day.
Every day it is exactly. But most of the people, but again, it happens when you keep learning. Otherwise, it's not there. No more questions, I think. Shukriya. Thank you very much. Yeah, Megha, I like the questions.